This is Chris with Eagles. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube, subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris with Eagles, and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. It'll all be down there in the description box. And I'm here to do my WWE Friday Night SmackDown, November 25th, 2022 reviews. So here we go, discussing about Friday Night SmackDown. Now, there was like a football game, so SmackDown was like 10 minutes late by airing or whatever, but they had to do quick with these segments, because this first segment, it was pretty quick. It was like, only lasted like 5 minutes. So, right at the start of the show, Bayley and the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions, Dakota Kai and Io Sky, Damage Control, and Rhea Ripley and Nikki Cross are in the ring. Team Bayley are already in the ring, and they're calling out Bianca because they want to know who the fifth member is, you know? So they're calling her out, and Bianca Belair comes out with Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Mia Yim. And Bianca Belair was like, so you want to know who the fifth member is? Okay, here you go. And then out comes Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch makes her way down to the ring. So yeah, she has finally returned. This is the first time we've seen her since the night after SummerSlam. So yeah, it was great to see Becky Lynch come back, and she'll be on Team Bianca for tomorrow night's War Games. So the whole team's set up now, and they all get into the ring and they all start brawling and stuff, taking each other out. And then it was Bayley and Becky that was brawling, and then we see Becky hit the Bexploder onto Bayley, laying her out. And then we see Becky in the ring, and Rhea Ripley decides to get into the ring, but then when Bayley notices that Bianca and all them stands behind Bayley on the behind Becky on the apron, they decide to tell Rhea, like, hey, come on, get out. We can't be taking any chances, pretty much. So yeah, Rhea and Becky was going face to face pretty much. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But yeah, that's what happened there. Becky Lynch finally makes her return back to WWE after a few months off from injury. So yeah, it was great stuff. But yeah, like I said, the segment lasted probably like 5 minutes. Probably not even that. But yeah, it was pretty quick. But later on tonight on SmackDown, they got a few matches. They got Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler in the tag team match. Not only that, they got Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus the Usos in the Advantage match later on tonight, a tag team match. Not only that, they got Ricochet versus Braun Strowman one-on-one in the semifinals of the World Cup tournament. But up next, it looks like it'll be Butch versus Santos Escobar one-on-one in the World Cup tournament in the semifinals. So yeah, it looks like that match will be happening up next. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, it was a one-on-one match. It was Santos Escobar with Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro, with Zelina Vega, which she was on commentary, Legado del Fantasma, versus Butch with Sheamus and Ridge Holland, the Brawling Brutes. So yeah, Santos Escobar versus Butch one-on-one in the semifinals of the World Cup tournament. Winner of this match faces whoever next week, either Braun Strowman or Ricochet. That match hasn't happened yet. It'll be happening later on tonight. So yeah, we get into this match. It was a pretty good match. It was going back and forth and everything. At the ending of this match, we seen Butch and Escobar on the top turnbuckle, and Butch snaps his fingers, and Escobar falls off the top turnbuckle to the outside of the floor. And then we see Sheamus and Ridge Holland going face-to-face with Joaquin Wilde and Cruz del Toro. But when Legado del Fantasma turned around, they get hit with a moonsault by Butch off the top turnbuckle, getting laid out. And then Butch grabs Santos Escobar, throws him back into the ring. And he was taking control of this match up until we've seen on the big screen that the Bloodline is attacking Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens backstage. They're all brawling and stuff. Butch wants to go back there, but Sheamus is like, hey, focus on the match. We got this. And, you know, Butch had to go on with the match, and Sheamus and Ridge Holland runs back there to the backstage area, and they started brawling with the Bloodline as well, with a bunch of security guards and Adam Pearce and stuff, trying to break up the brawl, you know. So yeah, that's what was going on backstage. And then we've seen, this match going back and forth a little bit. At one point, we see Escobar hit a vicious clothesline onto Butch, pins him, but Butch barely kicking out too. And Butch starts taking control, locking on the arm bar onto Escobar. But then Zelina Vega gets on the apron, distracting the referee. While she gets the referee distracted, Joaquin Wilde grabs Butch by the leg, drags him to the ropes, and that's when Cruz del Toro kicks him upside the head, and then Joaquin Wilde kicks him upside the head as well. And then that's when Santos Escobar grabs Butch, puts him on his shoulders, and then hits the Phantom Driver onto Butch, and then pins him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Santos Escobar defeated Butch tonight in a one-on-one match, and he goes and advances to the finals of the World Cup tournament. So yeah, Santos Escobar will be facing either Ricochet or Braun Strowman next week. But yep, that's what happened there for that match. I'll give it 3 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good match between those two guys. So yeah, go check it out if you haven't yet. But yeah, later on today, they still got many more stuff going on. Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler in a tag team match later on tonight. And up next, we're going to be seeing Bray Wyatt on SmackDown. So yeah, we got to see what he has to say, because apparently he's getting accused for LA Knight's attack. So yeah, that will be up next. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing to happen on Friday Night SmackDown, now Bray Wyatt made his way down to the ring, and he starts talking about like how the fans want the Fiend, how they want to see the monster and all that, but he said he don't want to do nothing like that. He wants to be a kind person, you know, be nice and everything, and, you know, not bring the monster out, even if people want to see that and all that stuff. But then he starts talking about LA Knight, how he never did anything to him last week, how somebody else did. So he wants to stop getting accused of it for what happened to LA Knight last week, getting buried in a pile of of stuff. So yeah, that's what Bray Wyatt was saying. But then also we see Uncle Howdy popping up on the big screen. You know, we see like Husky Harris pass and stuff, like Bray Wyatt's pass, as Husky Harris getting whipped with the strap from Punk, and, you know, getting punted in the head by Orton years ago, and then into Bray Wyatt's character back in 2014 and stuff like that. You know, throughout the whole years going to the Fiend and stuff. So yeah, that's what was happening there. But then we see LA Knight backstage, and he's getting interviewed, and he was talking about like how he was trying to leave the arena last weekend, and the next thing he knows is he's getting pulled out from underneath a bunch of stuff, and, you know, that he's hurt and all that stuff. He couldn't enjoy Thanksgiving, and that his arm is in the sling and all that, but he knows for a fact it was Bray Wyatt and stuff. So yeah, that's what LA Knight said, but it was a pretty good segment though. Go check it out if you haven't yet. But up next, we'll be seeing Hit Row in action. So yeah, they will be in action up next, and there's many more stuff for tonight's SmackDown. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, it was a tag team match. It was Top Dollar and Ashante Adonis with B-Fab. Hit Row versus Eric and Ivar with Sarah Logan, which they changed her name to Valhalla. The Viking Raiders in a tag team match. And it was a pretty good match. Viking Raiders was doing pretty good. Hit Row was trying to do pretty good. But at the ending, of course, Viking Raiders starts. But yeah, Viking Raiders was doing pretty good. At the ending, they need Ashante Adonis in the face. They threw Top Dollar out of the ring over the top rope, and they hit the double powerbomb onto Ashante Adonis, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, the Viking Raiders picked up the win over Hit Row tonight in the tag team match. For that match, I'll give it 1 star. This one I'll give it was an okay tag team match. But yeah, that's what happened there. And up next, we're going to be seeing Braun Strowman versus Ricochet in the semifinals of the World Cup tournament up next. And there's still many more matches. Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus the Usos in a tag team match, and many more. So yeah, I'll see you guys later until the next thing that happens on Friday Night SmackDown. See you guys later until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, it was a one-on-one match. It was Braun Strowman versus Ricochet, one-on-one in the semifinals of the World Cup tournament. And it was a pretty good match. Braun Strowman was just tearing apart Ricochet. Ricochet was trying to come back a few times in this match, like he almost got counted out and stuff. But then we get to the ending where Strowman tosses Ricochet around across the ring. He turns him over, about to punch him in the chest. But then as soon as he was about to do that, he notices the Intercontinental Champion Gunther making his way down to the ring. And then all of a sudden, we see Ludwig Kaiser and Giovanni Vinci getting up on the apron. Strowman's trying to knock them off the apron, but they quickly jumped off. And while he was distracted by them, Ricochet comes up, hitting the crucifix pin onto Strowman, pinning him for the 1, 2, 3. So yeah, Ricochet defeated Braun Strowman tonight in the one-on-one match, and he advances to the finals against Santos Escobar next week in the World Cup tournament. That's what happened. Pretty good match. But then, after the match ended, we see Imperium attacking Braun Strowman after the match, beating him down and everything. Ricochet was walking up the ramp, but then he looks and he's like thinking if he wants to go and save him. But then he decides to go run down and save him. He runs down and then he starts fighting with him, but he gets beat down as well because of the numbers. You know, they beat him down. Gunther got Kaiser and Vinci to pick him up, and he hits the chop onto Ricochet. But then he was trying to get them to pick up Braun Strowman, but Braun Strowman knocks the hell out of both of them, and Gunther quickly runs off from Strowman because Strowman was standing tall, and then he gives pretty much respect to Ricochet. But yeah, that's what happened there. Braun Strowman lost to a flippy floppy guy. So, if you get the term, there you go. But yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good match though. I'll give that match 2 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good one. But yeah, that's what happened there. And then after the match ended, we see Sami Zayn come walking up backstage, about to go into the Bloodline's locker room. Kevin Owens comes up talking to him, and he goes like, "Look, I want to tell you something. Now, I know you for so many years. I'm just going to tell you. Eventually, Roman's going to turn on you. You see what he does to his own family. So, you know, he's going to do the same thing to you. But I'm just saying, be careful. If I was you, I'd do something about it before they do something about it." So, yeah, that's what he was saying. Sami Zayn was like, "Please go on somewhere." Kevin Owens walks away, and Jey Uso was listening to the whole thing. And then as soon as Sami was about to open up the door, Jey Uso comes walking out. He looks at Sami and goes like, "So you been talking to somebody out here?" And Sami was like, "No, I haven't talked to nobody." And Jey Uso was like, "Okay." And Sami was like, "Is everybody in the locker room?" He goes like, "Yeah, go ahead." And Sami walks in there, and Jey Uso looks frustrated. So yeah, that's what happened there. Pretty good stuff though, with the tensions with Sami Zayn and Jey Uso at least. But yeah, still to come later on tonight, we will see Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus the Usos in a tag team match later on tonight on SmackDown, and many more stuff to come. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, now before I talk about the match, there's a few things we got to talk about. Like at one point, Becky Lynch was getting interviewed. They was talking about like, "Oh, it's going to be your first match for War Games." And she says whenever the man walks in, the war begins. So yeah, that's what Becky Lynch said. But then we get to another segment where we see Raquel Rodriguez and Shotzi getting interviewed. And then all of a sudden they get attacked by Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler. They got beat down backstage. And then Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler put Raquel's arm like in the crate, and then slams the door onto it, injuring her. And then Ronda and Shayna makes her way down to the ring, and they say, "Oh look, we're ready for a match, and nobody ain't coming down." And then we see Shotzi make her way down to the ring, and it became like a 2-on-1 handicap match. It was going on for like a little bit. Shotzi obviously couldn't defend herself a lot in that match, but then Raquel Rodriguez makes her way down to the ring, even though she's injured with her left arm. She tries to do some stuff, but obviously she gets beat down and stuff. Shayna was holding Shotzi back, and then we see Ronda Rousey lock on the armbar onto Raquel, making her tap out. So yeah, the SmackDown Women's Champion Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler defeated Shotzi and Raquel Rodriguez tonight in a tag team match. That's what happened. For that match, I'll just give it 1 star. That's why I'll give, or 1.5 stars for the attack backstage in the match. So yeah, that's why I'll give it. But then after that, we see the Usos talking backstage, because up next it'll be the main event. It will be Drew McIntyre and Sheamus versus the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, Jimmy and Jay the Usos, up next in a advantage match on SmackDown in the main event. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Until then. So the next thing that happened on Friday Night SmackDown, now before I talk about the main event, there was one moment where we got backstage where we see Shotzi walking out of the doctor's room, and we see her getting interviewed, and she was talking about how Raquel Rodriguez always had her back. She got a broken arm and a separated elbow now, but Ronda Rousey's going to pay at Survivor Series tomorrow. So yeah, that's what Shotzi said. But then we get to the match. It was the undisputed WWE Tag Team Champions, Jimmy and Jay the Usos, with Solo Sikoa and Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre and Sheamus with Kevin Owens and Butch and Ridge Holland, the Brawling Brutes, in a tag team advantage match. And it was a pretty good match. It was going back and forth and everything. At the ending, we see Jey Uso and Sheamus on the top turnbuckle going at it. And then we see Sami Zayn go over there while the referee was distracted, knocking Sheamus off the top turnbuckle. Jey Uso hits the Uso splash off of there and then pins him, but Sheamus barely kicking out at 2. And then we see Sami Zayn try to interfere again. We see Ridge Holland come up brawling with them. And then we see everybody else brawling, Solo Sikoa and all them. And then Drew McIntyre comes up, hitting a front flip over the top rope on everybody else. It looked like Solo was clutching onto his knee, so yeah, hopefully he's okay. But then after that, we see Sami Zayn grab one of the titles, try and give it to Jey. But then Kevin Owens gets in his way. He takes the title away from him, saying, "You ain't going to do this." Sami Zayn grabs the title again. Kevin Owens grabs Sami Zayn, throws him into the ring. Referee sees him with the title, so he ejects Sami Zayn out of the ringside. And then while Sami Zayn's arguing with the referee, Kevin Owens gets in the ring, hits a stunner onto Jey Uso, and then that's when Sheamus hit the bro kick onto Jey, pinning him for the 3 count. So yeah, Drew McIntyre and Sheamus defeated the Usos tonight in the tag team advantage match. So yeah, they got the advantage for tomorrow night's War Games. That's what happened. Pretty good match. I'll give that match 3.5 stars. That's what I'll give it. That was probably match of the night for sure. So yeah. But for tonight's SmackDown, I'll give it 7 stars. That's what I'll give it. It was a pretty good episode. Not too bad. But yeah. That's what I'll give it. But next week on SmackDown, we will see Ricochet versus Santos Escobar in the finals of the World Cup tournament. That'll be next week. But yeah, that's been my Friday Night SmackDown reviews. Like, subscribe to Team W Wrestling on YouTube. Subscribe to my other channel, Word of Chris, and subscribe to this channel, Chris Nails. And follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and both of my TikToks. They'll all be down there in the description box. And I'll see you guys later for tomorrow night's Survivor Series reviews. See you guys later. Until then.